Morning, happy Friday, beautiful people. Friday Ascension update, and yeah, Tim in the woods again. Yeah. So what's going on at the moment out there? I'm just taking a kind of a little kind of pluck from the field. It's things felt much calmer, much more peaceful after that very powerful full moon moved through, which I think the build up to that was affecting us all incredibly. But what I want to talk about this morning is an overall scenario or an overall situation that is actually affecting every single one of us at the moment. And if it's not affecting us directly because we might have already mastered the situation, then it's most definitely affecting and becoming a part of the lives of people who are around us. Now, as I've said before on my Ascension channel, I will cover subjects using kind of almost like a coded language. I will not diverge into kind of like trigger areas that particularly social media channels look for to kind of jump on, especially with the level of censorship. So I am going to talk about a general scenario, okay, and this is particularly prevalent in the UK, and I know it's happening in other countries as well. And if you wrap it all up into a bubble or a scenario ball, it all comes down, or it all comes under the category of sovereignty. What I see at this present moment in time, and because everything that we undergo on the ascension pathway, everything that we undergo as part of our spiritual awakening, the move from 3D to 5D, is as a collective, as groups of various souls. I know many of us are at kind of different levels. We all we move through various gateways as we go through this process. And so last year we had this colossal fear release, which began sort of like snowballing and rolling out around this time about this time last year, about when I first started recording the videos. And this was a global fear release. This was all of the energies that were kind of associated with the fall of Atlantis, you know, the mass global panic about an unseen spoken threat that is kind of like repeated via the news channels continuously until everybody's into a heightened state of fear. And that created a global fear release, which was all released to be alchemized. We could all feel it so clearly. And then later on into the year, kind of around the Lion's Gate, around August time, began the first real major clearing of the third eye. So we are all shown this reality very clearly. Now, although this happened quite suddenly, it was quite a sharp removal. All of a sudden people were given a taste of their reality very clearly, and a lot of people are still adapting to that and still will be adapting to that for quite a long time. It's almost like we're on the other side of that gateway at the moment. What we are being the test or the gateway that I can see for us at the moment is sovereignty. Okay, now let me round this up into a scenario. I mean, a lot of the time I'm talking about high frequency stuff and this, but I will also cover grounded practical things that are affecting all of us, because this is our pathway, this is what we are engaged in, this is what we are navigating at the moment. And my version of sovereignty, okay, now to be sovereign, to claim sovereignty, responsibility for self, is to make those decisions on your pathway through your own volition. Okay, now to make these decisions, you take an accumulation of factors into your life. You know, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What are my reasons for doing it? And what are my targets and end results, my intentions for doing it? And there's the conundrum that we're faced with at the moment is that we are being told by all exterior 3D the 3D sources that we must basically do something in order for to do our part for the greater good. Now, you've heard me talk about the medical intervention previously, and if I know there were a few questions about what that medical intervention were initially, but I'm pretty sure all of you, doesn't matter what country you're in, you will know what I'm talking about now. And that's the solution that has been provided by the various governments and kind of the health organisations as a solution for the problem that has been is kind of going on globally. So we're being continuously bombarded, if especially if you're tuned into the media, if you've got people around you who are involved in that, to make these decisions for the greater good. Now, I'm gonna show my perspective on it previously. Now, I've never said do or don't. Okay, that's not something that I'd ever say. I've said my personal choice is to not participate in any of this, not engage in it. It's not my reality. But I know a lot of people who, that's just me. I can't make decisions for you. Other people can't make decisions for you. It's entirely down to you and you only. So sovereignty of choice or sovereignty of being is making a decision on your own wisdom, your own feelings, your own heart-centered guidance, and sticking by it. Okay, what I can see that we're being asked to do at the moment is make a decision that a lot of us are feeling is not correct, because we're being told something is occurring for the greater good. We will never on this ascension pathway be tested for our own spiritual sovereignty on this level again. This is the gateway that we are walking through at the moment. So what I'm seeing, or what I'm hearing, or what I'm generally picking up on a lot of is people, on our pathway, people who've been on it for a while, or maybe just stepping onto it, who are kind of in a state of flux, in a bit of a state of distress, because everybody around them is saying, do this, have you done it yet? Why haven't you done it? And if you're not doing it, then oh my God, it's the end of the world. And this is, for me, my feet are very firmly rooted on the ground. I've been doing what I've been doing for a long time. Any kind of stresses or pressures to make decisions to be on my ascension pathway happened. I'm very blessed in that way. They happened quite a considerable time ago. So I've made my stand, I've made my decisions, and a lot of you I know out there are in the process of kind of anchoring into your own sovereignty, into your own wisdom at the moment, and some of those decisions might not be quite so easy. And so I'm here today just to talk about the decisions. If you are making that decision at the moment, do it because it's coming from your own heart, not because somebody else is telling you that you have to do it. And so it's as simple as that, really. But the bombardment, or the influence, or the persuasion that's coming at us all sides, that you've heard me speak about it before, the 3D party invitations, come to our party, you're needed here. It's filled with fear for survival and everything like that. Come and join it as quickly as possible. And it's taking so much of our time, our precious energy, our power, to stay in the light, anchored into our ascension pathway. But that doesn't mean that I'm sat here saying that it's either right or wrong to make that decision. Say, for example, you decide to take whatever is on offer, but you're doing it because you feel that is your heart-centered right to do so. If you've done that, you've owned that choice as a sovereign being, and that is the correct decision for you. If you decide not to do it, then you've done that because you've made that choice as a sovereign being, and you own it, and that is the right thing to do. So there is the paradox of right or wrong. It doesn't come from the collective telling you whether you should be doing or not. It's your own sovereign choice as a as a soul on the ascension pathway. And so this is where we are at the moment. We are being presented with so many opportunities to engage in this ascension process, but doing it for other people's reasons, or doing it for the power of the greater good. And once I'm gonna say this does sound quite dramatic, but in many ways that sort of like this is how these tests are presented. Once you've handed that sovereignty over, you've got to work very hard to retrieve it again. Okay, so any decisions that you've made in haste because you've been kind of pushed or coerced or bullied into doing so, once you've made that decision, you can't, it's very hard to unmake it. Okay, so the other kind of aspect of this I'd like to cover in kind of whatever coded word I'm saying is I'm receiving a lot of information or messages from people that believe that once this intervention has been participated in, that the physical damage is irreparable and the spiritual damage is irreparable. I don't believe that is so, because that is to me, that is kind of cementing the limitations of what our amazing physical, mental and emotional and spiritual bodies can do. There is nothing that is unrepairable. There is nothing that is irreversible. There is nothing that we cannot overcome energetically and physically on the spiritual pathway. It just might make things a little bit more difficult for a little while, that's all. So whatever decisions you are making at the moment, as I've said previously, make from your own heart. Okay, this is one of the it's a little bit like the final selections for say something like the SAS, or if you watch that series Who Dares Wins on Channel 4, like you will be pushed to make decisions and choices that are really kind of like on the spot. And tough, and when all of the noise and the hecticness is kind of like flashing around your head, the thing to do, and this is what I've always done with it, is just ignore the noise, ignore the intrusions, take whatever question that you have into your heart center and ask your heart center what the best form of guidance or what answer it is that you actually need. So you move from an exterior source of promptings and knowledge and asking into asking your own heart center. The best, the most accurate, the most clear, the most precise and the most pure guidance you will ever get will come from your own heart center. Okay, so it's a case of kind of just dropping all the outside noise, which is increasing at the moment, and as I've said in my previous video, it's likely to get even noisier over the next 6 months. The noise, the commotion, the 3D party invitations, and the general kind of level of energetic chaos is due to kind of be, it's the more energies that come in, the more they snowball, and until we hit the Lion's Gate in August, when I've predicted that they will start to take a gradual wind down. So stand in your sovereignty, okay? Whatever your choices are on this ascension pathway, make them because you have decided to make them. It's your choice, your responsibility. One of the 7 pillars of the law of one is responsibility, taking responsibility for self. Nobody can do that for you. No one can do your ascension process for you. No one can take responsibility for you. That is where we are at the moment. It's responsibility, mastery, sovereignty, standing by your decision. So every decision that you've made, because you've made it, is the right decision. Okay, there's no right or wrong there. What happens, and that's where the lines get blurred, is if and I know it's difficult, I know for a lot of you that you are surrounded by people who are asking you, or have basically handed their power over and are asking everybody around them to do the same. I've handed my power over, it's wonderful, yay, And that's not where we are. That is the test that we are being asked to engage with at the moment, and it is probably, if I'm absolutely honest, one of the it requires more self-confidence, more will, more power than many of you will have been asked to produce previously. Even more so than standing up and speaking your truth. You know, that's the other massive test that I've seen on the Ascension pathway, is when people have to, it's almost like you come out of the spiritual closet and you tell the people around you, hey, in actual fact, this is me, I'm a spiritual being, this is what I believe in angels, I believe in unicorns, I love crystals, and this is me, you know, and it doesn't matter whether people accept you or whether it doesn't. Once you've honoured that, once you've stood in that power, that is you've owned that. Okay, so it's a lot about ownership of self. What the 3D matrix would like us to do, or would like everybody to do to remain in the third dimension, is hand over sovereignty and hand over responsibility to those that believe that they know better, and that's not where we're going in the fifth dimension. So again, we're on this transitional threshold. You know, once you're on the other side of the threshold, once you've owned your power and you've taken responsibility, looking back over to the other side and watching it all, the choice, it's like you say, you can't unred pill yourself, so to speak. So that's where I am with it at the moment, because I am getting a lot of communication from people who are concerned about themselves, about their loved ones. There is only the decisions that you can make for your ascension. Anything that you do, any decision that you make on your own volition, via your own guidance, is the right thing to do at this moment in time. So yeah, and taking a bit of time out from it as well, that's another good way, just kind of disengaging from the tumultuous energies, and you know, once you step out from it, step back into it again. That's another good way of making decisions. But I know, and the other and this also includes our very precious children, who are kind of, especially in the UK, we're going back into, we're kind of moving back into the old 3D school system again. And there's a lot of parents who are very concerned about the conditions that these children are moving back into. Again, everything is sovereignty, everything is a choice here. There is nothing. The one thing that I've tried to discern or distinguish before is the word that we all hear very frequently, which is the word mandatory. Okay, you'll hear that a lot at the moment from the 3D sources. The word mandatory makes, or it's delivered with an energy that is supposed to enforce adherence to rules. You know, it's mandatory, you know, I must therefore do it. The word mandatory, if you break it down, it means via invitation. Every single thing that we are presented with at the moment is via invitation. Everything, okay? From medicine to inclusion in anything to do with the social realms, especially education. Everything that goes on in the school institutions is via invitation. It requires your permission. Okay, so I think you all know what I'm getting at this morning, and my feet are covering this to a certain degree. Like I said, there's two very distinctive camps that work on this pathway. There's the Truther camp, you've heard me cover about the Truther camp, who are bringing everybody's attention to the inconsistencies of what's going on, and there are the light holders. And some of us are kind of traversing both, and it's quite a difficult task, because it's you've got to have 1 foot in the 3D camp and you've got to have 1 foot in the 5D camp, and it's kind of a balancing act to keep your light high and your vibration clear and stay focused. So if you're doing that, yeah, fair play to you. So yeah, I hope you all have I hope this has helped you make any decisions that you might be presented with at the moment, and I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. On Monday, Okay, I'm running my crystal and crystal skull workshop. So crystals, we're going back to basics. Basically what I'm going to be doing is talking about crystals, how we work with crystals, why we love crystals, what they mean to us, what we're doing on the Ascension pathway, and basically how to program and communicate with them, and how crystals potentially communicate with us. So that's Monday night at 7 p.m. okay, 7 p.m. GMT, and the clocks haven't gone forward yet in the UK. So I know some of you in the United States at some point around this kind of time the clocks do go they do go forward, so, and there always does tend to be a bit of time confusion. And then we've got more exciting goodies coming up on the equinox on the 20th at 5 p.m. UK time. Paul Debris O'Carey and myself are going to be running a 2-hour workshop on the Atlantean Ascension pool, and this is to bring in and harness and anchor the very, very powerful energies of the equinox. And then on the Monday, on the 22nd, David Esri and I begin our Archangel series. So there's lots of lovely stuff to get involved with, get engaged with, and it's all designed very specifically to raise your vibration, keep us on the pathway to the light, and really kind of fortify each and every one of us for the job that we have to do down here. Sending you all lots of love, and I will talk to you soon, probably Monday morning. Lots of love.